you have time in between books where you just read or just research and just try to fuel your creativity?
Yeah, I didn't, but now I realize how important it is. And so last year I had 2 books come out and the film came out. So I had all these things that didn't involve writing a book. And I wrote Burner, which I went to several countries to research and took probably 8 months to write the book. And I was supposed to write something else last year. And both my agent and my editor, who are both great guys, they both said, why don't you just take the rest of the year off? Because you've really been burning the candle at both ends, and start fresh next year. And so it was hard, to get up one day and not feel like you have to be on your laptop in 4 minutes, But I used that time to kind of come up with this year's book to where I have a pretty more fleshed out outline than I usually do. It's significantly more. But yeah, it was just days of like going to the park or working out, and I have a little home gym, and listening to podcasts about stuff that would be, in the next book, or reading stuff, and slowly taking notes. And I don't really have the luxury of doing that every time. When I finish the new Gray Man book, I've got to get right into the second Armored book, which is the one that will come out next year. And I better have a plot. I have to figure it out on the plane, as I'm on book tour or something.
Is that good to have that kind of pressure?
If I didn't have it, I'd probably still be writing my second book. Honestly, so I hate it, but I need it. And it's just, I've never been able to straighten out my work-life balance the way I would like to. I'm insecure as a writer, so I hate what I'm doing 95% of the way through it, and then tweak. And my wife could tell you, the last couple years. It's like I hate the book in July, and then beginning of August, I'm like, well, there's something in there. There is a heart to this thing. It's got a lot of mistakes. And then by the end of August, it's kind of like, all right, I think this one's actually okay. And then by the time it comes out, it's like, all right, this is done. It's as good as I can make it. I'm proud of it. Let's get it out.
I think that feeling of never having a good balance is part of the creative process.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody who does great work who's really happy with the whole process.
Yeah, but it's always fun to fantasize about just getting up in the morning with a big smile on your face and going man, I'm kicking ass.
Right.
It's always I'm just flailing. Yeah, I have really bad imposter syndrome, and I always have, and I guess I always will. And so, it's this whole, I hope they don't find me out.
I'm glad you said that, because I think everybody who's good has imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I've talked to great comics. I've talked to great musicians. I've talked to great writers. And almost all of them have this thing oh, they're going to find me out.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, why am I here?
Right.
It's like, and I've even, I used to have really, really bad social anxiety. And, when I was trying to get published, I literally had appointments to talk to agents, and I never left my hotel room because I just chickened out,
Wow.
and that happened. And then, so once I got published, it was still sort of like this, I don't belong here thing. And, and now, when I first was asked to write with Clancy, I was like, oh my God, why are they asking me this? It's like, oh crap, it's like, how do I get out of this? And
especially Clancy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're such a huge fan.
Yeah, and I was like, can't I go to the next level above me and not way up there? That's
right.
Just scary up there. But then after we did 3, but he passed away right after a couple days after we finished the 3rd book together, and then his family asked me to continue the Jack Ryan series. And if they'd asked anybody else, I'd have been really upset. By then I felt like I was the right guy for the job. And it was the first time in my career I felt like I was, I was like, why are they letting me write for a living? I get to go to other countries and talk to people and then write fun stuff about shit blowing up. It's like, how cool is this? And it took me a few years to where it's like, okay, there's something I bring to the table here.
Oh, you most certainly do.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
That's great. And I'm really proud of you, for you.
Thank you.
If I was your friend, I'd be proud
let's
of
be
you.
friends.
Let's be friends. But I think that's an amazing story, to go from a guy who's a giant Tom Clancy fan to be writing those novels.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's great.
And to know the language, and to know the characters, and to keep it true to the original work.
Yeah, so I'd only had a couple of paperback books out when they asked me if I was interested in being his co-author, but we had the same editor. And
did he know your work? Was he a fan of your work?
I don't know. I mean, I think ultimately, yes. I mean, we met, but when they first reached out to me, it wasn't a job offer. It was more like, would you be interested? You want us to put your hat in the ring for this? And there was this kind of back and forth where no decisions were being made. And as scared as I was at first, I also knew enough about the publishing world to know that that book was going to be due whenever I started writing it, that the due date wasn't going to change. So it's like beginning of February 2011, they asked me if I was interested. And end of February, I still didn't have it, the job. And we're into March, and I still didn't have the job. And I was like, I bet this book is due on a certain date no matter what. So finally I said, listen, I am a huge Clancy fan. I know these characters. I know these people. Let me write 50 pages as if I was writing a Tom Clancy novel and do that as a tryout. And so I don't think anybody else did that. And so I just wrote 50 pages like in the middle of a book that never existed. You know, it was just like, I didn't worry about plot. And I was just like, there's this scene. And I gave them that, and then they had me go up to Baltimore and meet Tom, and then I had the job. So
wow,
yeah, it was amazing. I was terrified to meet Clancy.
Why did they want someone to collaborate with Tom?
Do I even know the answer? I really don't know the answer to that. It happens with authors as they get older. I mean, I'm already don't have the focus that we were talking earlier. You know, it's like I used to be able to write 6, 8, 10, 12 hours.
Do you take any nootropics?
I don't know what that is. So
really,
I guess
interesting.
I'll
get you.
Do you have any? No.
Yeah,
I was kidding.
I do have
was
some.
Kidding.
I have some right here.
Can we take it on camera and see what happens?
Yeah, well,
see if I get more interesting.
It'll take a few hours for this to kick in. This is Alpha Brain Black Label. This is my favorite. But I take a bunch of different nootropics. What they are is essentially building blocks for human neurotransmitters. It's just nutrients.
Okay.
Here, take the 6.
Is it legal in all 50 states?
Yes,
all right.
100% legal. You can buy it on Amazon. Here, take 6 of these.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
I appreciate it.
I'll take them too, so you know I'm not poisoning you.
Do you take all 6?
Yeah, I take all 6.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's not going to mess with you.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. But I take a bunch of different ones. I started taking a new one that they sent me called Magic Mind, and it's nootropics along with lion's mane and a bunch of functional mushrooms.
Wow.
And I like that one too. There's another one. I got found out about nootropics because of Bill Romanowski. Mm-hmm. He was a former football player, great football player, and developed some neural issues, post concussions and impacts and stuff like that. So he created something called Neuro One, and I really like that. I started taking Neuro One because there was a show called Alice and No Name